the presentation that you're giving is something that very similar to what was given at the foundation presentation back in November, was it?
Right, November 12th.
Goodness. And I thought it was, something that would really give people a very good view of, number one, the foundation, and number two, the activity with District 7870. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn the floor over to Venu.
Thank you, Michael. It's so nice to see all familiar faces. I may not remember all your names, but I can recognize your faces from 3 years ago when I came and visited you guys. So thank you for inviting me. So today what we'll do is we'll talk about when I was given this responsibility of the district foundation chair, I just wanted to understand to myself, because the main function of the district foundation chair is to encourage Rotarians to do projects around the world. And that's what the Rotary Foundation is for, to do good around the world. And we have been doing international projects we have been doing it for a long time, but under the model called district grants, global grants. Under the model called global grants, we have been doing this since 2013. So I wanted to see how many global grants we have done since 2013 and what its impact on a real human beings. So I had to go dig up all the data for all the projects we have done since 2013. And that's what I wanted to present to you today. But before I do that, I will also go through a couple of slides of basically what a Rotary Foundation means. This may be basic to some of you, but indulge me in going through this. It might be helpful to some who may not have these details. The Rotary Foundation, it was initiated in 1917 by then Rotary International President Arch Klump. And he was donated $26.50 from a Kansas Rotary Club. And with that amount, he started the foundation, a nonprofit foundation, which grew and grew, and now it stands more than $1 billion. And it has a plan to make it into $2.25 billion by 2025. And we contribute through the interest earnings of this foundation more than $300 million to do good around the world. And do you know, the Rotary Foundation, just like the Rotary International, has its own mission. The mission statement says, it is meant to enable Rotarians like you and me to advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace. And how does Rotary Foundation accomplish this? To advance our world understanding and goodwill and peace by providing us with a tool called global grants, where we can do projects around the world to improve health, education, and reduce the poverty of the communities where we go do the projects. So as you all know, it is the poverty, the lack of education, and lack of basic health are the prime reasons for unrest and revolutions. So aiding these things, providing health education and eliminating poverty around the world through the global grant projects, what Rotary Foundation is basically doing is promoting peace through our service. So how many ways can you help? What are the different areas when you can do these global grant projects? So you can do a global grant project if it is for a water sanitation, purification of water, sanitation, hygiene, any of these things, you can apply for a global grant and your money will be leveraged 1 to 3 by the foundation. Or you can do a projects in basic education and literacy, and you get leverage. You raise $1 for the Rotary, this international project, and the district gives you $1, and then the foundation gives you $1. Or you have a disease prevention and treatment projects you can do, and you can get the same leverage. Or you can do maternal health and child care, or you can do projects in peace building and conflict resolution, or in a basic community economic development. And starting this July 1st, they also are introducing a 7th area of focus, so you can apply and do projects in supporting and improving the environment of the earth. So these are the 7 areas we can apply to the Rotary Foundation, and you can get your dollar leveraged 3 times, and you can do great projects. Now, the question is, if the Rotary Foundation is going to fund us to do these projects, who is funding the Rotary Foundation? So let's see how the Rotary Foundation funding process goes through. You may be surprised, almost all the money that Rotary Foundation gets, it comes from Rotarians. And there's 5 ways you can contribute. You have seen the 7 areas of focus, different areas that you can do projects. Suppose you are passionate about helping only those projects that improve the maternal health and childcare. You can send money to the foundation and say, hey, I want to spend my money only for the women's health and childcare. And then your money will go to only those projects that are supporting those issues. Or you can say, I want to give my money to Polio Plus. Or you can give a money to annual fund. We'll talk about this. This is a more important annual fund. Or you can also donate to what's called endowment fund, which is when you donate to this fund, the principal is never touched. Only its interest earned is used. Or you might like a project that's being done by a Rotarian or a club that's doing a project in another country, say a water purification project in Thailand. And you like that project, so you can say, I want to give the money to that particular project. So that's the specific global grant project that you want to give money. You can do that too. So these are the 5 ways you can contribute to the foundation. And if you give it to the specific area of focus, the money goes only to those programs. If you go to polio, it only goes to eradicate polio eradication. If you give it to annual fund, the money goes into another bucket called share fund. That share fund is invested in the equity market and invested for 3 years. At the 3rd year, the money is taken out, and half of what you contributed, when I say you, your district, all the Rotarians in the district have contributed to the annual fund, half of that will come back to the district as a district designated funds. And the other half, they put it in another fund called World Fund. And this district designated fund that comes to us, it varies year to year because it all depends on how much you have contributed 3 years ago to annual fund, because half of it comes back. For example, in 2016, 2017, when Dennis McMahon was our governor, we received $74,000 as our district designated fund. That means to get $74,000 in 2016, 2017, some generous Rotarians 3 years before, in 2013, 2014, have contributed $148,000 into the annual fund. And that's why we are getting $74,000 in 2016, 2017. Now, these district designated funds, every district manages in a different way. But mostly, part of it is taken, every district takes part of their DDF, part of their district designated fund, and they give it to local club. They give it to local clubs, and they're called the district grants. Sometime in August, an email will go to all the presidents in the clubs, in our clubs, and say, hey, we have a district grants. If you have any projects in your club, you can apply and we'll match your money dollar for dollar up to $2,000 or $1,000, depending on the size of the DDF we have. So the presidents can apply for grants, and then the district will allocate or match those grants. Those are called the district grants. It's our local projects within our district. And in the year 2016, 2017, we had $20,000 set aside for district grants. Other $54,000 we used for the global grants, that are the international projects. And now the beauty for the international project is, A Rotarian or a club has an idea and they had a contact in a different country and they want to do a project there, say for maternal and child care project they're doing there, and you raise $1,000 for the project. And if that project is in one of those area of focus, then the district will match dollar for dollar that you raise. So if you raise $10,000, the district will give you $10,000 from the DDF. Now, the beauty here is whenever the DDF is given to an international project, the World Fund comes and it will also match. Because the 50% of the annual fund, you remember, after it invested for 3 years, went into World Fund. And that 50% they kept in the World Fund, they use that money to match your DDF dollars when you give it to international fund. So if you raise $10,000, the district gives you $10,000 and the foundation comes and it also gives you $10,000 from the World Fund. So all of a sudden, the $10,000 you raised has become $30,000. And at the host club, probably they have raised some funds that their district will match, and that also will be matched by the World Fund. So now combined, you may have a $40,000, $50,000 to do a project, and that would do a remarkable life-changing projects in the developing countries. So that's the process we use. So now if you stop for a minute and think, when we raise $1 for an international project, now it's being leveraged by the matching from the DDF, matching from the World Fund, and then it has become 3 times what we are raising to do a great projects in international arena. And that's because 3 years ago, some generous Rotarians in our own district have contributed to the annual fund. So if we want to accord, or if you want to provide the similar advantage or similar privilege to our future Rotarians to have the same leverage for the dollar they raise for their international project, it's very important that we contribute to annual fund now. And this process works beautifully as we help each other. So this process is really, it's a stroke of genius that you contribute, and while you're doing, you are leveraging your dollar and you contribute to the annual fund, the Rotarians who come after you, they will also be benefiting. So the most important thing is we have to keep contributing to the annual fund. So this is the process. Now, as I said, you can donate in any one of these areas, not necessarily only to the annual fund. I usually give it to polio, that's my passion. I also give it to annual fund, and I'll give some to endowment fund, because endowment fund is meant to make our Rotary organization financially stable. So you can give as much as you want. $1 will be even fine, because just be part of it and give it to whichever one that touches your heart. Now, any of these contributions you make, each of those contributions are also recognized by the foundation. And the recognitions come in the form of Paul Harris Fellow. If you have contributed $1,000 to the foundation in any of those 5 ways you can contribute. In any one of those 5 ways you contribute, but when your contributions come up to $1,000, then you are recognized as a Paul Harris Fellow. And if you can afford, and if you can commit to give $1,000 a year, then you'll become the Paul Harris Society member. And if you're giving $1,000 a year, and in 10 years, you come up to a cumulative donation of $10,000, then you will be recognized as a major donor. Like I said, you don't have to write a $10,000 check. When your contributions cumulatively come up to $10,000, that's good. And these are the 3 things, the major contributions. They form the majority of the donations that come to the foundation. There are other ways also you can give. If you are wealthy and you have a commitment to help the foundation and you write a check for $250,000, then you become Arch Club Society member. We have one member like that in our district. Or you can write your estate plan and you can identify a particular asset in your estate plan, like a stock or something, and make foundation as the benefactor of that. So when you pass away, that particular asset would be turned over to Rotary Foundation. But when you commit, you will be recognized as a benefactor. Or you can also take a life insurance and make the foundation as a beneficiary. So when you pass away, then the Rotary Foundation will become the beneficiary of the proceeds. So when you commit to that, you do not have to wait till you die. When you commit, you become the Bequest Society member. So these are the different ways the foundation recognizes your donations to the Rotary Foundation. So this is basically how the foundation works. We contribute and we benefit for the sake of doing good around the world. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is how many projects we have done in the last 7 years since 2013, and what's their impact. So the next chart shows you, we have completed, this model started only 2013. So we have started in 2013, but we have finished that project, one in 2014, one global grant project we finished in 2016, and two global grant projects we finished in 2016. By this time, we were getting the hang of it and becoming comfortable about how to go about writing these proposals and be successful. So in 2017, we have completed 8 of them. 2018, 10 of them. In 2019, we have completed 12 of them, to a tune of total worth of $3.2 million, all these projects worth. And in which countries we have done this? In 16 different countries. And in every area of focus. You remember we talked about the 7 areas of focus? Of course, the environmental thing was not there at the time. But in each area of those focuses, we have done the projects in different countries. So now I have gone, and as you probably know, or you may not be aware, that the only way the foundation approves and matches the money we raise, if you satisfy 2 requirements for the project. One, the proposal should have a very strong needs analysis. That means you need to provide, yes, this is the need in that area. This is what the people want. So the needs analysis is very important, because we just cannot go to a country and we think this is what they need and do it and come back. That may not be what they need. So we need to know what the locals want. So that's what the needs analysis document you have to generate. Talk to the locals, talk to the local stakeholders and find out exactly what they need. And that's what we will put together a project. And the second requirement is, when you finish the project and you leave, you have to show the project sustainable and continues forever. Not ever, but it continues beyond the execution time. So the needs and the sustainability are important in these projects. So I went and I pulled out the final reports of each one of these projects to see what the project has done and what is its impact every year going forward. And this is the results. The first one we have done in Haiti. We provided the biosand filters to 2,500 families. And these biosand filters they last for 30, 40 years, because these are not high tech. These are all sand filters. Maybe you have to change the sand once every 10 years with a new sand and gravel, but they last forever. So 2,500 families are now being provided with the clean water every year. And in 2015, we have done one project in Mexico, and this is the Nashua Rotary Club has done, and they provided equipment to diagnose and treat neurological problems for children. So its capacity is over 600 children can be tested and treated every year. because that equipment is going to be working for a year, for a long time there. Similarly, in 2016, we have done 2 projects, one in Guatemala, one in India. Both were on the literacy project. And this helped over 10,000 children. The new children will be coming to the school, but the electronic e-learning systems we provided, the water purification plant we provided, the infrastructure we have provided, they continue to be there for a while. So the children will be developed, over 1,000 children every year will be benefiting from these projects. So now you have an idea that every year we are working with the different countries and working projects in different focus areas. Like in 2017, we have done projects in literacy, we have done projects in clean water and in health. And what you see in the red font are the men, women, and children that are being helped year after year. And in 2018, we have done 10 projects in 9 countries, again, in different areas of focus, in rural health, literacy, sanitation, women and children, maternity, So different areas, different projects, and different impacts. In 2019, we have done 12 projects in 6 countries, and again, in different areas. As you can see in the red font, the people that are being impacted. But the point I want to make here is, this is not just 1 year impact. The things that we provide, the systems we put in place, the projects we complete, they have a long life. So people will be benefiting from that year after year. So to summarize our 7 years of efforts in doing 36 projects, this is a very impressive summary for our district. Since 2014, over 30 clubs in our district, 7870, have collaborated with 16 different countries to participate in 34 global grant projects worth over 3.2 million, resulting in life-altering impacts on more men, women, and children than the population of New Hampshire and Vermont combined. That's still today. These projects will continue to provide and will be surpassing those numbers. And if you do any future projects, since these projects are sustainable and cumulative, we will be making more impact in the world population. So taking each one of the area of focus, summarizing all these projects, in disease prevention and treatment, we are impacting over 138,000 men, women, and children in 16 different countries. In water sanitation and water and sanitation area, this is the second most global grant projects we have done in this district. We are providing clean water, which is potable water, to over 100,000 men, women, and children around the world. In maternal and child health, we are helping over 1,000 mothers a year and over 8,800 children a year in different countries. In basic education literacy, this is where we have done the most global grant projects. We are continue to help on a yearly basis over 30,000 students. And it's not just the students, we also provide the software, the equipment to train the teachers to be better teachers to teach the students. So over 400 teachers are being trained every year with what we are providing in the basic education literacy. And finally, in economic development, I can give you one particular example. This is a project done by Meredith Club in Lake Region in New Hampshire, a microfinancing project in Rwanda. They give small loans to families, find out what they need to become self-sustaining in their family. And they have to provide the reason why they're asking that. So we make sure that's really what they want. They say, if you give us 2 cows, that will make us self-sufficient. We can sell the milk, we can sell the dung, we can become self-sufficient. And then the children can go to school. And so this type of small projects, they have already 62 families have become self-supporting. And these money they give is not free. They have to return a little bit as they become better in their management of their business. They have to return the money back, and the money goes back into circulation to help another family. So you can see we have done 34 global grant projects in 5 areas of focus. One area we have not done any project is the peace and conflict resolution. We never found an opportunity nor a contact or anything. So maybe in the future we might be doing some projects in that area. But so far we have done projects in every one of those 5 areas of focuses, and our impact has been mind-blowing. When I finished, this was a very tedious work. It took me about 3 to 4 weeks to go through all this, and I had no idea what I was going to expect out of this effort. But when I found these results, it really, the small things that you do, they add up and they do unbelievable work. Now, just think for a minute, wait here and think a little. I don't know whether you guys have done any international project or become part of an international projects. And if you have done, usually what we do is a Rotarian gets an idea or it gets a contact, or a Rotary Club gets a contact, and we put together a project together, working with our the host club, finding their needs, and we put together, and then we go to different clubs within our own district, approach other Rotarians, and we say, hey, this is the project we want to work with. Do you want to support? You want to contribute? A club gives you 2,000, another club gives you 5,000, one individual may give 500. So we collect maybe about $20,000. And then our district gives you $20,000, and foundation gives you $20,000. And now this has become $60,000. And the $60,000 has done an unbelievable life-changing project. And a project after project, we keep doing, and the cumulative effect is, as I say, we are now impacting more population out in the world than the total population of New Hampshire and Vermont. Have you ever thought of that when you give your $100 or $1,000, that's what you're going to do? We never did. But that's what we are doing. And somebody asked me, why are you spending this $3.2 million in projects outside the world? We have our own problems here. Yes, we do. We have lots of problems in our own backyard. But this $3 million we spent on this 34 projects, the Rotarians only raised $1 million, because other $2 million is a matching grants that came from the districts and from the foundation. So Rotarians have only raised $1 million. But out of this $1 million, about $300,000 to $400,000 came from the host clubs. So our district basically has raised, let's say, $700,000 upper limit. In the last 7 years, we raised $700,000 for all these projects. Now, our district, on an average, every club, their own individual fundraisings, if you put together, our district raises close to $2 million a year. All the clubs put together. And we spend all the money locally. So in 7 years, that's $14 million we have raised. And we have given for international projects $700,000. What percentage is that? That's a 0.01%. And see the impact we have made. So in a developing world, a dollar goes a long way if you know where really to apply. So use the global grant project model, which is a very clever model, where a dollar we raise is matched. And if you have a right project, you know the needs, and you make sure the project is sustainable, it makes a big difference in the world. And I tell you, if you keep doing this for at least 25 years, just our own district, see the impact of our own district. There are 540 districts around the world. If every district is doing the global grant projects for 25 years, this cumulative effect, I personally think in 25 years, every citizen in this world would have either benefited from these projects or would have known somebody who benefited from it. I don't think any amount of money you spend on PR or branding will do that. So this is something that we have to think through and do our part. And here I thought, just for the benefit of you, if you have a couple of minutes, this is the project done by Wallingford Rotary Club in South Africa. And they provided equipment for this area in South Africa. They're completely backward, financially backward area. And all the children there, most of the children there have a lung problem. So we provided bronchoscopes there, and the 550 children per year are being diagnosed. And the thing we got back is that 50 of those children would have died because lack of diagnosis if this equipment was not there. And this is the project I talked to you about. In Mexico, we have provided them the equipment to do the diagnosis and treatment for the children for the neurological disorders. And this is the project we have done in Honduras, for the clean water. And this is our past district governor, Carolyn. And they have provided over 2,000 families with the clean water filters and latrines. And this is the project. This is very close to my heart because this is the gentleman, Adrian Levick. He's a doctor. He's in a Nashville Rotary Club, and he was telling me he has been a member for 30 years. All he knows is he was writing checks for projects. And about a few years ago, he went on a cruise in South Central America. And one day he took a boat ride through the lakes in Guatemala, and he saw these small villages, and he wanted to go find out. And then he went into the villages. He found out if a pregnant woman has a complications, it takes her 8 hours to get to the nearest hospital. So it's not the pregnancy, but it's the travel that will kill her. And the mortality rate was 50%, I believe. So he came back, and for the first time in his life, he started a global grant project, and he provided a portable equipment, diagnostic equipment, to every graduating midwife there. They can go door to door and proactively monitor and treat the woman. And if there are any complications, long before it becomes a complication, they can be sent to hospital. I believe the mortality rate is now about 7%. You can see with a small amount like $72,000, you're saving lives. And this is the project our past district governor, Tony Gilmore, has done in Mongolia, where he has provided equipment for maternity wards and also for the incubators for the newborn children. And it's helping 500 pregnant women and 1,000 children a year. And this equipment he provides is also helping about 20 health professionals being trained. And this is the project I did in India that we provided. There's an area in India where I believe 1 out of 5 children is not reaching the age of 5 because of the lack of clean water. So we have done a project, and we have put together 15 of those water purification plants, you can see, and we are providing clean water for about 80,000 population, clean drinking water. And now this year, our district governor, Steve Porterbaugh, and I, we have a pledge for you guys. Any Rotary Club wants to do a global grant project. If you are raising 1,000 or more for the project, Steve would match $1,000 and I will match $1,000. So you will have a starting gate. You will have $2,000 from us if you want to do any global grant project. So that's our pledge. So see if you have an opportunity, and if you want to know an opportunity, we can come to us. We will help you with that, and we can do these projects.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.